Good morning, everyone. This week's Torah portion begins with the commandment to light the menorah, and that the Jewish people should donate olive oil for the kindling of the lamps of the menorah by Aaron the high priest. And the Torah specifies that the oil that they should bring should be shemen zayit, oil from an olive, zach, pure olive oil. And the question is, what is pure olive oil? And our rabbis explained that the finest oil is the very first drop that comes out of the olive when it's crushed. And therefore the commandment is that you could only use the first drop of oil that comes out of each olive. And that's why we all know during the miracle of Hanukkah it took 8 days till new oil was crushed and brought to the light the menorah after the Maccabees rededicated the temple. And that's why there was a miracle that the little jug of oil lasted for 8 days. Why would it take 8 days? Because in order to crush enough oil, they could only use the first drop of each olive, which takes a long time. However, we know that one of the sacrifices that was brought in the temple was called the mincha, the meal offering. And it was made out of 2 ingredients, flour and oil. But there the Torah doesn't stipulate that it has to be pure olive oil. You could use any oil, not just the first drop, but the second, the third, the fourth, it doesn't matter. And the question is, why when it comes to the menorah, can you only use the first drop, but when it comes to the meal offering, you could use any oil? And the answer is that the menorah represents spirituality, the light of our soul, the Torah, the mitzvot. However, the meal offering represents food, eating, to sustain the body. And therefore what the Torah is telling us is that when it comes to material things, we don't have to have the purest and the finest. We don't have to have the most luxurious. But when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to our spiritual needs, our soul, we could only use the finest. We have to strive to have the most beautiful, refined oil so that we can perform the mitzvah in the most magnificent way. Last night, we had the Palm Beach Synagogue's 30th Gala. And it was a beautiful event. It was definitely 5-star. 600 people joined and celebrated a magnificent, wonderful dinner. But the highlight of the dinner was not the delicious food or the beautiful ambiance or the flowers, but it was the spirituality of the evening. Starting with our wonderful honorees who spoke about their connection to Judaism, their love of the synagogue, their love of learning Torah, of saying prayers every day, of saying the Modani in the morning, the Shema at night, about learning Torah, about being connected to a synagogue that stands with love and unity for the Jewish people in solidarity with Israel, to the IDF band that we brought in to bring our Chayalim to celebrate with us, to the reunion that was created between a soldier, one of our Maimonides graduates, who was on the front lines of Lebanon, and we surprised his mother and brought him in and showed a video of him, and then his mother and father embraced him and were in tears as they stood on the podium, and we sang and joined in the prayer for the IDF. Every aspect of the evening was centered around spirituality, the lights of the menorah, and being a synagogue, a light unto our community. And that was the highlight. And that should be the highlight of everything in our lives. Yes, we should enjoy beautiful material things as well. However, the finest and the best aspect of every experience has to be the spiritual elevation. Last weekend, when there was this miraculous rescue by the IDF, which we had last night, the UN ambassador to Washington, Ambassador Herzog, and he spoke about the rescue of the 2 Argentinians that were rescued in a very daring and courageous mission by the IDF. And he said, this is the stuff that movies are made out of. One of the hostages that was freed and rescued was Luis Har. And he's a 60-year-old man. And remarkably, his daughter and son-in-law were traveling around the United States just a week before his freedom, before his rescue, raising awareness about the plight of their father. And they spent Shabbat in the Shula Bell Harbor, Miami Beach. and the community got together to support them and hear their story. And Rebbetzin Lipska spoke about how we need to do mitzvot to help aid in the merit of the redemption of her father and all the hostages, and presented Louise's daughter with candlesticks to light Shabbat candles every week, and to the son-in-law of Louise a pair of tefillin to start putting on tefillin every day. And they accepted it with gratitude. But then Louise's daughter started crying, and she said, "May I request a second pair of tefillin, so that when my father is free, he'll be able to put on tefillin every day as well." And sure enough, just a few days later, her father was miraculously rescued, and now he could put on his tefillin every day as well. Let us remember, just like the body and soul are one entity, you cannot have a body without a soul. A body without a soul is lifeless. The most enjoyable, luxurious, materialistic life is meaningless if it doesn't have a soul, a spiritual purpose, and connection to Hashem, to Judaism, and to the Torah. Have a wonderful day.